Greetings on this Erev Shabbos Parshas Vayechi. Um, I just want to mention to anyone who's catching the shear that we give because Rif is so concise. We're already running far ahead of the regular Daf Yomi, so we cut ourselves some slack, and we don't make up the Daf in Rif for Shabbos and also on Yom Tovim Be'ezras Hashem. When those come around, you should know. Shabbos and Yom Tov were off. We don't have to make up the extra daf. Sunday we resume like regular. We could cut ourselves that slack and only do 6 dafim a week and a little bit less when Yom Tov rolls around because we're anyway quite far, way ahead of the curve. Okay, so we're starting at the last 2 lines on Chesam Beis on 8b in the standard Rif pages as it's printed in most Gemaras. If you made a, you're reading Shema, you realize you made a mistake. So if you progressed past, then you caught yourself. Whoa, I said that pasuk wrong. You go back to where you made the mistake, correct it, and go through all the psukim again. You can't go back and just correct that pasuk and then skip ahead to where you were holding. No. You go back to where you made that mistake, say that pasuk over again, and read through all the psukim all over again. Let's say a person read out Brises, in front of Rabbi Yochanan, and read out the following Brisa. You made a mistake and you're between paragraphs. You don't know which base of paragraph, right? You're not sure, which in which paragraph you made a mistake. I mean, what it means talking about like this: you're holding before Vayomer, right? Right, and you got to, you go to and you're not, you made a mistake. You're not sure if you made a mistake. Right? And this over here, Ben Perek, the way Rashi interprets it is that you're between parshas. Right? So it's not that you made a mistake in how you read it. Right, it's talking about over here that you are stam forgetful, stam a space cadet. Right, at least the way Rashi understands it is that you are a you are a space cadet, and the Rashi on the Rif, and it's the little reading of the Rif, is that you're in between 2 parshas of Shema, but you can't remember, are you between the first and the second, or are you between the second and the third? Are you between Uvi Sharecha and Vayam Shemo, or are you between Kibesh Ravarts and Vayomer? I know I was just finished one parak and I have to start the next. I can't remember which break I'm in. Also, parak Arisha. Right, so now you go back, right, to the the first break. Meaning you have to take the more straight. You have to assume the worst, right? You have to assume, in the more stringent position for yourself, and go back to the first break. Don't be lenient. Just go back to second. Go assume that you're between Uvisharecha and Vayam Shamoa, and start from Vayam Shamoa again. Right now, let's say now you made a mistake in the middle of a paragraph, right? But you can't remember. You said something wrong. You can't remember exactly where, which pasuk. Happens. You mispronounce it, but you can't remember exactly where. Go back to the beginning of that whole paragraph. Let's say so now. Let's say you made a mistake approximately around the words uchsavtam al mezuzos beisecha v'yicharecha, right? Which appears twice, in Shema. It appears in Shema and also appears in Paragraph of Shema. So I know it's around that area of uchsavtam and write them, on the mezuzos, but I can't remember if it's that pasuk around that pasuk as is in the second parsha or in the first parsha. So you got to be stringent and go back closer to go back to the first uchsavtam. All right, so assume that you made the mistake in the first parsha Krishma. That means read it through and then read through the whole second one all over again. But it says Rabbi Yochanan, interesting halacha, and this is the din. Like, let's say, you're rattling forwards, and you said, Lamanya Buyamechem Evenechem. And so I made a mistake around Uchsavtam. You could assume it's the second Uchsavtam. That's by Lamanya Buyamechem Evenechem, right? Because you're prattling on by rote, so you could use where, you find your mouth going on automatic pilot as indicator as to where you might have made the mistake, right? Right, so it's like it's talking about that you made a mistake around the chasavtam, but you don't really, but you're so spaced out you don't know if you're in the chasavtam of the first parsha or the chasavtam of the second parsha. But if you already found your mouth saying lemani bui nechem, you know you're holding in the second parsha. Okay. All right, so basically, but the rule of thumbs over here is you have to take the more stringent approach. In doubt, go back to the earlier place and read it all the way through again. When in doubt as to where exactly you made a mistake or where exactly you are holding, just you can use what you're mumbling as indication as to where you really are. Okay. Oh, so now we're in the new Mishnah on Daf Tes. All right. All right. Home in Koren Broshil, Barosh, Nidbach. Professional, workers can read Shema on up on while working on a tree or at the top of a wall, like a construction worker can, we talk about pros who aren't scared of heights, right? So they can actually read the Shema and reasonably concentrate on top of a tree or on top of a wall. But they should not do so by tefillah. By tefillah, we demand greater concentration. So even the pro did not daven Shmona Esrei, right? Up in this precarious situation. Tefillah is longer, Shema is shorter, right? And we're going to qualify this in the Gemara. Tana Rabbanan, so says the Gemara, right? The Rabbanan learned, Omnin Kohen Barosha Ilan Barosha Nidvach, Umispam Barosha Zayit, Ubarosha Ta'ena, Ubashar Ilomas Yordim Lamata Umispalalim. Right? The people, the pros, professional workers, they could read Shema at the top of a tree or at the top of a wall. And not only that, since they're pros, but listen to this, even if they're pros, since they're pros, Mispam Rosh Sait Ubarosh Ten, they can even also daven Shmona Esrei on top of an olive tree or on top of a fig tree. But by other trees, they have to come down and daven their Shmona Esrei. So Rashi explains, because the olive tree and the fig tree have lots and lots of branches, so it's very safe. So the professional, again, there's only the pro. The professional, right, even daven Shmona Esrei on those trees that are very branchy, like the the olive tree and the fig tree, right? But all other trees, if he's a pro, so we could concentrate long enough to say Shema. Again, this all refers back to what we learned earlier, that for Shema, you only really need strong kavana and to know what you're saying by the first pasuk and Baruch Shem. Right? That's all you need. Right? So again, so he's a pro. You only need to have kavana by the first two verses, the one that's written in Torah and the one that we add by oral tradition. We spoke about that yesterday and last night. And so since there's so little, you have to have kavanah for it. And he's a pro, so you can say it even on top of any tree, right? But he has to come down for davening. But trees, he's a pro, and he's a tree with a lot of branches, so he feels totally safe and at peace up there, right? So he can even daven Shmona Esrei up there, right? But a regular guy, a balbayis, right? He's not a professional, right? So the Rif says he's not a pro. Go down and daven on the ground, right? Right. That's be it Kriya Shema, be it Tefillah. So the way the Rif understands it, most literal meaning is because he is not a pro. He's not an uman. He's not a pro. So the Balabai should come down and daven, even if he's in a very, very branchy tree. Right. So the Rif brings a Yerushalmi that further explains this. Yerushalmi, Lamali brosha zai brosha te'ena. What's special about the top of a olive tree or top of a fig tree? Rabbi Rishon Travain Amrin, right? So Rabbi Ab and Rabbi Simon, they both said Mipnei shetirchoson meruba, right? So they said that they attributed the reason to the fact that these things are such a pain, right? That if it's so if you make the dye go down and then go up again, it's like these things are a pain to handle. So the rabbis were lenient with them and let them stay in the tree and die. Right? Rami Lama Rav Mori Bereda Bas Rava. Right? So now, Rami, the Rav Mori, the son of this daughter of Shmuel, this one because his father was the son of the daughter of Shmuel. We don't call him by his father's name because his father was a guy. The daughter of Shmuel was raped by a guy and had this child that grew up to be a rabbi, Rav Mori. But unfortunately, his father was a guy, so we never mention his father. We say it's Rav Mori, the son of the daughter of Shmuel. He asked the following question to Rav. It's this following contradiction. He posed the following contradiction to Rav. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, right, the artisans, right, the pros, they could read on top of a tree or on top of Shema. They could read Shema on top of a tree or on top of a wall. Remember, though, being kavana, so it means what? You don't need kavana? No, I mean that's how he understood it on the simplest level. Read on top of a tree because you don't have to have kavana, right, as opposed to tefillah. Right, you don't have to have intent; just mumble the words. Right, so even though your attention will be divided with keeping your balance, you don't need to have kavana. Right, so that's how he interpreted it. So I'm going to ask you a contradiction on this from another Mishnah. Rav Shimon bar Yochai Omer, right? Rav Shimon bar Yochai says, a person who reads Shema has to, have intent, have his heart intent on what he is saying. As the Prophet says, Shema Yisrael, right? Listen, Israel. Omer, and the Pasuk says elsewhere, Askes Ushma Yisrael, be attentive and listen, Yisrael. Bahaskes, I've come Bahaskes, just like over there, Haskes Ushma Yisrael means to concentrate, take to heart. So also here by Shema Yisrael means to take to heart. Ishtik, so Rava, right, was quiet. Right, he did not have an answer because he accepted this. Initially thought this was a real solid contradiction. If they could read on top of a tree or on top of a wall, we're not even talking about the tree. We're talking about a tree with like very little branches, right? We're not talking about the olive and the fig tree. Right, they say you're allowed to read it up there. It means you don't need kavana, but then you have the dinner of Shimon bar Yochai that says you need Shema. You have to concentrate. Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael like Haskes U'Shema. So Amalei meaning Shmilach Baha. So now he asks, so Rava, threw it back at the way it says, Rava threw it back at Rav Mori, the son of the daughter of Shmuel. Did you hear anything? Or are you asking me a question? You stumped me. Did you ever hear anything about this contradiction? Amalei, so Rav Mori, the son of the daughter of Shmuel, told Rava, Achi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Right. So said Rabbi Yochanan. V'tel mimlachtan v'korid. Right. You know what? They could be up there. They could be up there on the tree, right? But they can't be doing their work while they're reading Shema. So it comes out like this: that initially Rav Mori had Rava believe, and Rava thought that when they say they're up on the tree reading, that means also they're doing their work and reading. And for sure under those conditions, not having kavanah, right? Because they're working, they're not just keeping their balance, but they're working, right? As I said, would come in contradiction to the dinner of Shimon bar Yochai. You have to have your head in your Shema that you're saying. So Rav Mori says, I'll tell you how Rav Yochanan resolved this contradiction, right? So betel mimlachtam v'korin, that okay, you could be up there on top of in that tree, right? But don't work while you're saying Shema. Don't work while you're saying Shema. Right? And that way you could at least, because he's a pro, like we said before, he's a pro, right? So he could, he doesn't have to, he won't freak out as far as keeping his balance up there, and he could indeed concentrate because he's not going to be working while he says the Shema. But so now we ask a kasha from a brisa against this resolution of Rabbi Yochanan. Beis Hillel also machtam v'korin. But Beis Hillel says, right, that we could, that the artisans, the pros, even be in the middle of their work and read Shema, right? As opposed to Beit Shammai might say you have to like stand up, by the morning Shema, you have to be sleeping, not sleeping. I meant I'm sleepy. I meant to say you have to be laying down, in a reclined position for the night Shema. It doesn't make read Shema any, including while you're doing your work. So this contradicts what you're saying, Rav Yochanan, that is they have to stop their work, right? So lo kasha kamba perak rishon kamba perak sheni. So the Gemara says it's not a contradiction, right? No, that which Rav Yochanan said, stop your work so you could concentrate on what you're saying. That's by Shema, the first parsha of Shema. But that's where you need kavanah. But Vayam Shema Vayomer, right? You don't need kavanah over there. They can even be working on while they're saying. Hi Piruka. So now this resolution that says the differentiation between the first parsha, as in the entire first parsha, and the other parshas of Shema. This is all speaking according to Rav Yochanan. It's all speaking according to Rav Yochanan that he holds. This is a resolution for Rav Yochanan that would fit with Rav Yochanan's own way of ruling and thinking. Rav Yochanan was the opinion that held that you need kavanah by the whole paragraph of Shema, not just by the word Shema and Baruch Shem, right? Right. So it's related to by kavanah b'kol Baruch Rishon k'asin le'el avol Rava la mishum the by kavanah b'kol permission Huda Amar samnachla mishum the lo lishrei le'arayu, right? But according to Rava himself, who's also a player on this page, Rava himself, right? Rava himself holds you only need, and we rule like Rava, and that's the way the Rif Paskin, only by Shema, and we say that means Baruch Shem also, right? But indeed, Rava will still, for a different reason, admit that they should not work for the whole first paragraph, even though they only need to concentrate on the first two lines, the line that first line is written in Torah and the line that we insert by oral tradition of Baruch Shem, right? He would still admit that they should desist from work for that whole paragraph anyway. And it's not because of concentration, because concentration is only necessary for the first two verses, right? It is because you don't want your Kriya Shema to look like something that you say by happenstance. To give it the importance of something important, as to show that something, not you do it when you feel like it, but something important, something kavua, right? Something important, right? That's why you should desist from work for the whole first paragraph. Yoda Garcia Parak Biyuma Parak Kama, and this fits with another Gemara that we have in Yoma, in the first chapter of Yoma, the first parak. Rav Yitzchak Bar Shmuel Bar Marta. Rav Yitzchak said, Rav Yitzchak the son of Shmuel, the son of Martha said, Mishmei the Rav, in the name of Rav, Hakore Shema, he who reads Shema. Lo Yirmos Ben of Lo Yikrotzos of Lerbetz Bosa. Right? Right? The person while reading Shema shouldn't like wink, hint with his hands. Right? Don't be doing two things at once. Saying Shema and then still trying to communicate with your friend by winks and stares and hand motions. You read Shema, you do nothing but read Shema. Don't be winking or signaling, to send messages while you're saying Shema. With Tanya, and we further learned in the Brisa, Rebbe Lezer Chasma Omer, Rebbe Lezer Chasma says, Hakor Shema Mraz Be'enav Makrisosav Marbetov. He was reading Shema, and he still will like wink, or do lip syncing, right? Or like try to say like read my lips, or do hand signals, So Aleva Kasomer regarding him, right? The pasuk says, "Lo otzi karas Yaakov." You're not calling out to me, Yaakov. Meaning you're ignoring me. That's called to. It's so insulting that you really you. It's as if you're speaking to Hashem and yet not really, because you're really communicating with someone else. Well, Kimla Parak Rishon, Uparshal Rabbanon, we established in the first chapter, right there. And the rabbis explained, Mishum Kamashvile, the whole reason is because you're showing that, as if you're Kriyashma, something that you do if you feel like. It's not something that is set and take and is important to you, right? So that's a principle. So Achinami lo batile mocho kamashvile arai. Right? So also over here, if you will not desist from working for at least the first paragraph, you're showing your Shema something that you do only if you feel like. It's not something important to you. That's something that, something set and important that other things should wait for. Right? Because if you don't say like me, says the Rif, that the whole reason why we're desisting from the first from work for the pros have to desist from work for the whole first paragraph. Kasha to Rava Rava, we would wind up with a contradiction Rava and Rava. Also by Rava Meir, because Rava initially said Lachak Meir, you only need Kavana by Shema Yisrael, just the first pasuk, and Baruch Shem, like we said. Rava agrees to the halacha of desisting for the entire first paragraph. Why? Rava holds you only need Kavana for the first pasuk and the pasuk that we insert by oral tradition. Love, so rather not Shmami. No, we hear for Amrinan is as we said, and that way you don't have a contradiction. Rava and Rava indeed hold you only need kavana for the first pasuk and what we add by oral tradition, right? And but you still the workers on that should desist from their work for the entire first paragraph out of respect. The Shor Shema is like the main thing that other things should wait for. Garcinia Biyuma. So now also, the Rif further brings over from the Gemara and Yuma, right? The Rif further brings over from the Gemara and Yuma. Tan Rabban, the Rabban learned, Vidibarto Bum, right? Speak in them, right? Right? Bum velo bitfila, them and not in davening, right? Right? Vidibarto Bum, Bum shloshus dav velo bitvarim acherim, right? Speak in them and not in anything else, right? All right. So now speak in them and not in tefillah. So it's a good thing we have Rabbeinu Yonah here on the side that was built around the Rif. We don't have Rashi here because right we do have Rashi here, but not on this particular place. So speak in them and not in tefillah. This refers to this Tana Rabbanan, this Tosefta. The way Rabbeinu Yonah explains is that which we said earlier that in Shema you're allowed to. Between the paragraphs, greet someone that you can honor, right? That you must honor, I mean to say, and reply to anyone who greets you. That's only the dibartum, speaking them like you can speak, and greet someone you must honor, or that which we said. That's only in Shema, but in Shemona Esrei you can't, between the blessings of Shemona Esrei, greet anybody or reply to anybody. Period. Just unless the guy's going to kill you, period, because there's nothing stands for Nefesh. So the heter to greet and return greetings is dafka shma nanfil. The dibarta that speak and give greetings and return greetings under certain criteria is only in shema, right? The dibarta and speak in them, right, and not in other things. So seemingly this seemingly is. Right. The way Rabbeinu Yonah understands is that that's talking about, it's like reiterating this, doubling down on the same din. You know, right? Over here you could speak, but not other things. But right? I mean, going with Rabbeinu Yonah. We are going to go with Rabbeinu Yonah on this. Right? Rabbeinu Yonah says, right, speak in them, right, in them, in the criteria that we said before. That, even when I said you could speak in Shema, it's only for greetings, but you cannot, between the paragraphs of Shema, share news, or talk about current events or anything else. Meaning, so speak in them the greetings that, the laws of greetings that we spoke before, but not anything else. That's the only thing that it's mutter to speak between the paragraphs of Shema. Some Kevin, speak of them, make them something that, right, that is constant, so that refers to that a person should always be engaged in prayer or in saying like Shema or saying other words of Torah, right? A person should not, be engaged, on a full-time basis in talking idle chatter. And everyone, Rashi also and Rabbi both bring a Gemara that a the person just speaks idle chatter for no constructive gain, transgresses a positive commandment of the department. Speak in them, right? So speak in them like Shema is good. Speak in them, which also refers to Divrei Torah, as like the pasuk literally means over there. Speak in them, at your regular set conversations should only be in Torah. You should only speak, idle chatter, out of necessity or really just by happenstance, not on any type of regular basis. Your regular basis type of talking should only be in Torah. Right, right. The workers who are working by a person, the person who contracted them. Right, so they're employees. They work for someone else. They're not self-employed. So if they're working for someone, they read Shema and Daven. Right, meaning even the employer has to let them do that. Right. And they eat their bread, and they have to make a bracha before they eat, and they have to make a bracha after they eat, but only two brachas, not the full birkas hamazon, because they can't, that on the one hand their employer can't stop them from being religious, can't. But on the other hand, don't be religious on his dime. So that's the compromise, where we're laying out what they could do on his dime, so by benching, we abridge the benching. Ketzah. So as the Tana Rabbanan, the Tosefta fears, follows through and says like this, right? Rosh Hashanah, they do the full Hazonas Hakol. Shia B'derech Birkas Hakol Baruchayim B'Birkas Aretz B'Chosein B'Birkas Aretz. Right, but the second bracha, they should incorporate the third bracha within the second bracha. You start, no del Hashem Elokeinu, and you should add in, things about the rebuilding of Yerushalayim, and end off bracha to Hashem ala Aretz v'ala Mazon. So you incorporate the third bracha into the second bracha, which, by the way, is the real original benching. The fourth bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv was instituted much later. It was added after the famous story that happened in Beitar, that they were, the terrible tragedy over there. The people were massacred there miraculously, their bodies did not decompose, and they miraculously were able to get a decent burial at the end. Right, so that's not the real original benching. The real original benching is three brachas. What the Antigas Agdala finalized for us with three brachas. So we're going back to the original text of three brachas. The third one should be incorporated in the second one. Don't be overly religious. He can interfere with your religious practice, but don't be religious at his expense. So so incorporate the third bracha of benching within the second bracha. right? That he shouldn't be doing it on his time, right? That he's paying. But the Gemara qualifies that, and says interesting how they thought all this through, all the labor laws, right? Says the Rif. This is all talking about, you're on his dime, right? Right. But let's say, so like he's paying for that time. So you got to cut it short. Right. But let's say, part of what he gives you is your food. Right. The food is part of the remuneration, right? Okay, so you're not on his dime. He's, this is part of the remuneration, right? So you bench the whole benching, right? This thing about doing the abridged verse only when you're on his dime, but he's giving you the food as part of payment, right? So you're on your own time because it's part of the payment. So you do the whole benching. Or if the master is, that the employer is eating with them, right? Right. If he is now eating with them, so just like he's got to, so if they're eating together, just so hey, buddy, just like you have to bench the whole benching, right? They have to let them bench the whole benching also. Okay. What exactly is the reason for that? Intuitively, we could feel why this is right. But you could look around in the Rishonim. But that's halacha. If he is himself dining with them, even if that the food is not part of their payment, but nonetheless dining with them. Hey, buddy, just like you're going to bench the whole benching, you got to let them bench the whole benching. Okay. And which includes the Rif updates it to be in line with the way it is. All four brachas, including Atov Amit. All right. Chasam Potter be Kriya Shema. V'layla Risha Abatzei Shas in Losa Maisa. Right. A chasam, a groom, on his wedding night does not have to read Shema. As the reason is, he won't be able to concentrate. This back in the good old days. This first time he's going to be with this woman for the first time later that night. He's pretty nervous about that. Right? So he won't be able to concentrate. So even on the first pasuk, he won't be able to concentrate. So he's exempt. And now that we're going to give him, if he got married on a Wednesday, like was the original custom, right? Married virgins used to get married on Wednesdays. And if he was nervous and he just could not consummate, we will say, okay, so you're nervous, we'll give him until Motzei Shabbos, we'll give him all those days, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, up to Motzei Shabbos. We say, hey, the man might be nervous if he has not consummated yet, right? There's also because if he consummated, all right, so now the stress is over with, and of course everybody was scared, nervous, didn't work out, he didn't consummate. So we say, we'll give you 4 days that we assume that if you had not consummated, we assume you're just too nervous to concentrate. If 4 days passed, even if you did not consummate, well, by now you're used to the idea that you're married and you're going to have to be with this woman eventually. You're probably, by now you've calmed down and start resume saying Shema. Okay. Right? Now Rabbi Gamliel married a woman and he read Shema on his wedding night. Everyone saw it, David Marif, I'm not listening to you guys, to annul from me. Excuse me, I skipped the line. Rabbi, didn't you teach us that the chassan, the groom, is potter from Krishma on the first night, right? And he said, he was there at his own wedding. He said Shema, even though that was going to be his wedding night, that same night he would be consummating, and he still said Shema anyway. Didn't you teach us that the chassan is exempt? I'm not listening to you guys to annul, accepting upon myself the yoke of heaven. So of course, this is talking about a guy like Rabbi Gamliel, who a very saintly person, and he could concentrate, right? as and the Gemara, as the Gemara says, that the not any person is worthy like Rabbi Gamliel. He's a special guy, right? But by the way, the way we rule, the later day Rishonim say, it's not here in the Rif, but I know the way we rule, like as we know, we see Chassanim, davening Shema, regularly, by davening Mariv on their wedding nights. We see this regularly, and it's not because we're saying like Rabbi Gamliel. It's the polar opposite, because we say we never have kavana anyway. God forbid, it's sad reality. So, like, just the opposite. If I wouldn't say Shema my wedding night, I would be bragging as if I have kavana year round. Truth, you don't have kavana year round either. So you might as well say Shema on your wedding night to show you're the same bum you are all year round. Because we never have kavana. So, like, the halacha flipped to the polar opposite, because we say we never have kavana, and the guy would skip Shema on his wedding night, would, as it were, be bragging that, yeah, all year long I do have kavana. What do you mean? No one has kavana, and that's why there's no difference between the wedding night and the other night. Okay, let's just do the Gemara. This we'll call it a day. Now, how do we know? How do we know the what is the source for the exemption that if you're nervous like a chassan, right? That a chassan, his nervousness exempts him from reading Shema. The Tarabas we learned in the Brisa, the Rabbanan learned this. Read Shema when you are sitting in your house. So what does that come and teach you? That product that comes to exclude loss of a mitzvah. If you're busy with a mitzvah, you don't have to say Shema. Person's on an emergency call, emergency call for sure. But going to do any mitzvah, you're technically exempt from Shema. Like when you're doing nothing else, like sitting in your house, i.e., like sitting in your house, as opposed to if you're engaged in a mitzvah, if you're engaged in a mitzvah, you're exempt from Shema, the mitzvah of Shema. That's what we learned from Bishek Lavidawi's house, right? When you walk in the road, right? So, and when you walk in the road, what's that? So, what's that extra thing saying? We only learned from B'shit Chavei you shouldn't be busy with anything else. What do we lech the Chavaderach? Prat l'chasen, to exclude the chasen, right? The groom, right? That he's not. He is nervous. He's not like the guy who's the guy could walk and chew gum at the same time. So lech Chavaderach. When you walk, you could stop for a second and say Shema. The chassan is not like Ubelech Chavada. It's not that level of calm. He's so that came to teach us you need that type of level of calm. Where saying Shema would be the same like walking and chewing gum. So you walk and you can stop for a second and say Shema. That comes to exclude a chassan who's not on that level of calm. From here, Chazal learned. Akarna sets up to a potter, right? If a person this whole halacha of being exempt from Shema, right, is if you're marrying a virgin, because whatever, without getting into the details, the first time with a virgin is difficult, and that's why it's very stressful, right? But if you're marrying a widow, right, who is not a virgin, presumably that's the reason, it's much easier and there's much less to, it is not right. You don't not so nervous about it because it's easy. All right. We will stop here. Have a wonderful Shabbos, everybody. Shabbos. We'll resume on Sunday. Kol tov.